Okay, hi everyone. So questions.
Yeah, we talk about Uttara Tantra Shastra, about 8 points and Vajra point, but
Seven.
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 Uh,
Yeah.
but Rinpoche said about Nagarjuna that he has also 6 point.
No, we're confusing a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, so the Uttara Tantra Shastra, which is the highest continuum, the Gyu Lama. So Uttara Tantra Shastra is Sanskrit. In Tibetan, it's called Gyu Lama, and this means the highest continuum. It's talking about the seven Vajra points. So the seven Vajra points is the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, the Buddha nature, the Buddhahood, the Buddha qualities, and the Buddha activities.
activities, yes.
Okay, so these 7 points. So the whole treatise is about these things. However, the Buddha nature, the number 4, Buddha nature, it goes into it a lot and in a lot of detail. So if the whole treatise is this, the Buddha nature is this, so maybe 70% of it is the Buddha nature. The Nagarjuna, if you're talking about yesterday's Nagarjuna's points, it's
Hello,
the
hello.
hi Olga, it's the analogies that are attributed to the Buddha nature. And the Uttara Tantra Shastra also has these analogies. It has 9 analogies, and this Nagarjuna one has 6. So that's what it means, these 6 points. Olga, I'm going to put you in the translation channel.
But if we will have question and answer, how we will
I will
do?
remove you from the translation channel when that happens.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a lot of
Vacation.
material to cover. So does that answer your question, Ella? Oh, thank you. Okay. It can be a little bit confusing, but maybe like a diagram would make it easier to understand. I'll try to create a diagram, but it's not going to, I don't know, it has to be clear in my mind also. Okay, so let's start. And let's remind ourselves why we're here. And let's make a correct motivation of why we're here. Okay. So in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. And may they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. This ground strewn with flowers and anointed with perfume, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and moon, visualized as a pure realm, is offered to the assembly of Buddhas. May all beings be reborn in that perfectly pure realm. Tram Guru Ratna Mandala Puzzamega Samudra Saparana Samaya. According to the wishes of all sentient beings in their various intellectual capacities, please turn the wheel of Dharma of the lesser, greater, and common vehicles. Okay. So let's start. I always like to have a picture of the outline first to give us a clearer understanding of like where we are. Sometimes it's a bit confusing, a lot of information, and it's good to have this under some kind of umbrella. Okay, I will just share the picture of the outline. If I can find it, of course. Okay, 1 second. So I haven't fully prepared the presentation, so we'll just do the outline and then we do discussion. Okay. So here is the outline again. So remember we're in the section talking about the Buddha nature, and specifically the nature. What is the nature of this Buddha nature? And now we're in the path section of the book. We finished with the ground, which Rinpoche says the basis. So basis, ground, it's the same thing. Now we're on the path, and the path begins with the Buddha nature, because this is the foundation for the Bodhisattva path. If we didn't have the Buddha nature, we can forget about the Bodhisattva path. So we've covered the nature of the spiritual potential, the omnipresence of the spiritual potential. So what is the nature of it? How it's everywhere, in everyone, and always has been. And now we're on the third point, which is an analysis, a detailed analysis. So we talked about it in general, and now we go into it in detail. So all this information we hear, it's all about the Buddha nature. And the analysis of the Buddha nature has three parts: the supporting and the supported factors, which we did last time, specific situations, okay, and also we'll do the analogies of their meaning tomorrow. So we'll just cover Wednesdays and Thursdays teaching session. Yesterday's and today's teaching session we'll cover tomorrow, and Sunday's teaching session we can do another time. We can organize another session. So let's do a recap. I think I have in my presentation the recap also. Let's do the recap. And then afterwards we can do more of a discussion. So what's the recap? In the last couple of sessions with Rinpoche, he mentioned that the Buddha nature, so when he says Buddha nature, potential or spiritual potential or caste, all of that is the Buddha nature, okay? And I know the book uses a lot of fancy words, but all of that is just the Buddha nature. Just keep that in mind and it won't be so confusing. So we talked about the previous time that the Buddha nature can be analyzed in two ways. It's one thing, but it can be analyzed in two ways. It's the natural potential. So potential is Buddha nature, okay? The natural potential and the increasing potential. And the natural potential is the emptiness part of the Buddha nature. And the increasing potential is the clarity part of the Buddha nature. And the natural potential is when the negative emotions are gone, so all our dirt is cleared away, then the Dharmakaya arises, which it's not really arises, but it's manifested because it's always there. And for the increasing potential, when we're free from negative emotions, the Rupakaya manifests. It's the form body. So this makes sense because the Dharmakaya, we're going to go into detail about what is Dharmakaya, what is Rupakaya later. But the Dharmakaya is the emptiness, like there's nothing there. And the Rupakaya is the form, so you can understand that as the appearance. So the Buddha Shakyamuni was the Nirmanakaya, which is the Rupakaya. Rupakaya means form body. So this is appearing, okay? And the analogies that they have used was the treasure trove and the fruit-bearing tree. Remember that. So the natural potential is likened to a treasure trove, and the fruit-bearing tree is likened, the increasing potential is likened to the fruit-bearing tree. These are just like analogies and things like that. Beginningless and naturally abiding is the natural potential. Sublime and perfectly developed is the increasing potential. But it's all it's all referring to the Buddha nature. That's it. Okay? But remember, when sentient beings have Buddha nature, it's covered by afflictive emotions and obscurations. And once the afflictive emotions and obscurations are removed, it's Buddha. So the before and after is exactly the same, but it's just the conditions that have changed. So keep that in mind. Remember Tathagata Garbha and Tathagata. Tathagata Garbha is the Buddha with the covered obscurations. And then when that's gone, it's Tathagata. Okay? And so that through these both potentials, the three kayas are obtained. It's making a separation of the Buddha nature in these two, so to distinguish between the results, what the result is coming. The three kayas are the Dharma kaya, the Sambhoga kaya, and the Nirmana kaya. And remember, the Sambhoga kaya and the Nirmana kaya are both the Rupa kaya, because they're both appearing. Okay, the Dharmakaya doesn't appear to anyone. So we said that Rinpoche said that both on the ground level, on the path level, both the natural potential and the increasing potential are there. Okay. And this is on page 158. There's a quote which said, that is, one can analyze the naturally abiding aspect, which is the natural potential, of this spiritual potential, which is the Buddha nature, and its perfectly developed aspect. Perfectly developed aspect is the increasing potential. So it's just using different words for the same things. Aspect by distinguishing one as the ground and the other one as the path. But Rinpoche said both potentials exist in the ground, in the bases. He uses bases, and they both function on the path. Some say that it's only the natural potential is only in the ground and the increasing potential is not in the ground. This is not correct. And Longchen Shedra has refuted this. So on the ground level is what you already have. Okay, so we're all have the ground, the basis. So let me just change this. So let's not be confused with the different vocabularies. Rinpoche says basis, 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 ground, ground, ground. It's all the same thing. On the ground or the basis level, it's what we already have. It's there, even if we don't practice, even if we're nasty, even if we're happy, even whatever, it's there. Okay? And the natural potential is emptiness as space. And the increasing potential is the kayas and the wisdom. But it's all there. Maybe it's dormant. Remember when we said previously, when it's dormant and when it's manifesting in the last time, okay? So on the path level is when you practice. So when you give rise to bodhicitta until the 10th bhumi, that's the path level. And on the path level, what we do is we do accumulation of merit and wisdom. So these become more obvious afterwards. So the increasing potential starts to show because we do the practice and all that. And then, so let's look at this in more detail. So the natural potential is the ground, the basis. So at the ground level, the basis level, the natural potential is characterized by basic space. If you see in the book this basic space, this is what it means. And it's emptiness. It pervades everything. It's the fundamental foundation. And Rinpoche said it can't be determined by anything. You can't say it's big or small or yellow or green or something. No. And this is the Svabhavika Kaya. Again, these terms will be taught by Rinpoche later. They are all in the book. And this is the essence Kayas. And he says it's like space because it's fundamental to all existence. It's the foundation for the wisdom and the kayas. It's the basis for all that could be desired, and it's likened to a treasure trove of gems. So if you think about space, like look at the space. There is space around us. Think of it like, and if we didn't have space, then objects wouldn't be able to appear. Like this is here because the space exists to allow it to be here. If there was no space, how would this be here? So think of it like that. That's why they say like space. But then the increasing potential is also in the ground, in the basis. But the increasing potential is manifest awareness. So our awareness manifesting. It's our Rigpa pure awareness. It's the qualities of the Kaya and the wisdom. So natural potential is the space. You can't see it. You can't characterize it. It's there. It's the essence. And the increasing potential is what is showing up. Okay? And they liken it to a tree, like a tree. The qualities are already within. And this will be obvious. It will become evident when it's freed from obscuration. Okay? Now, the key point is that Rinpoche mentioned is it's not created by practice. So if we start to practice, oh, very nice, we start to do the practice. It's not created because we start to practice, but it's appearing because we start to practice. And why is it appearing? Because the negative emotions are clearing away with the practice. So that's what it says. It's hidden by the negative emotions. And that's why when we start to practice, this starts appearing, not because it's created because we practice, but because the negative emotions are being cleared. So you can imagine like if you have a pile of dirt and you slowly clear, and it's already there inside. And the book also likens it to like a lamp inside a vase. So if you have a light, so can you picture a vase which is not glass, which is maybe clay, and you have a light inside, like a candle or something? The candle is there, it's lighting, the flame is there, but if you're looking at it from the outside, you can't see anything. So that's why it gives this analogy. Okay? And then, so Longchenpa is giving this image, a lamp burning inside a vase. Don't think of a vase as a glass vase, no, but like a clay vase. The light is there. So, but you can't see it until you break the vase. And the vase is the afflictive emotions, okay? So in the same way, the wisdoms and kayas are there. We do have them. That's the increasing potential. But they don't appear until we destroy the negative emotions. And the moment these negative emotions are destroyed, then all these qualities appear. Okay. It's like a tree analogy, and it's not something that grows from nothing, but what's hidden becomes visible. And just keep that in mind. It's like sometimes when some people practice, you can see them slowly changing and becoming more kind. And that's it. That's just like when all the dirt is clearing away, all these things show up. So what did Longchenpa refute? Some commentators say that all beings only have the natural potential, and the increasing potential comes from the practice. This is not correct. So we can say, oh, if someone's a nasty person, they don't have this increasing potential. Yes, they have the Buddha nature, but only the natural part of the Buddha nature, not the increasing part. And Longchenpa says, no, refutes this. Let me say this. Every sentient being has both potentials. Just remember, it's still just one Buddha nature, but it's analyzed as two aspects, okay? And even on the ground level, the basis level, before any practice is done, both are there. Like both aspects are there, okay? And why is this important? Why Why is this important that we understand that the both are there? Both aspects are there at the ground level, because if the increasing potential only comes from when we practice, then that means the Buddha qualities have been created. And this is what Rinpoche was saying, the arising result. And that's not the case, because the Buddha qualities are there from the beginningless time, have always been there. And they're not something that have just been created newly. Remember when in the beginning, when we were talking about the Buddha nature, the emptiness of the Buddha, it's empty of afflictive emotions and negativity and negative, but it's not empty of the qualities, because the qualities have always existed in it. This is why it's saying this now. So all of this information is coming together. And if the increasing potential exists at the ground, at the basis, which is the case, then the qualities are revealed. They're not created, they're revealed. And this is the elimination result. So Rinpoche was talking about the arising result and the elimination result. So we don't have any arising result. It's not created new, but it's appearing because we're eliminating things, like clearing the dirt. Okay? So how does this lead to enlightenment? And this is the quote from the book. It says, like a treasure trove and a fruit-bearing tree, respectively. So the treasure trove is the natural potential, and the fruit-bearing tree is the spiritual potential. The increasing potential. This spiritual potential, which is the Buddha nature, should be understood to have two aspects. Okay? The beginningless aspect, which is naturally abiding, and this is the natural potential, and the sublime aspect, which is perfectly developed, and that's the increasing potential. So one Buddha nature, two aspects. Okay? And it is held that the three kayas of Buddhahood, so the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, are attained through these two aspects, twofold potential. The first kaya, which is the Dharmakaya, through the first aspect, which is a natural potential, and the remaining two, Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya, through the second aspect, which is increasing potential. Okay? There's a lot of information, a lot of detail, but let's try to keep it simple. But all this information is giving like a very, very detailed account of what's happening. Okay. So this is just a summary of what it says. The natural potential is the Dharmakaya. The increasing potential gives the two Rupakayas, which is the Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya. The natural potential is the emptiness aspect, the truth body, which is the Dharmakaya, and it's like a precious image but hasn't been created yet. And the increasing potential is the clarity aspect, is the form bodies, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya. And the Sambhogakaya is like a universal monarch, and the Nirmanakaya is like reflected images. So when the Buddha Shakyamuni came to this earth, or all these holy beings come to this earth, they are the Nirmanakaya, which is like a reflection image. Okay. And both potentials are present in all beings and are at the ground level. So we shouldn't say two potentials. It's just like the two aspects of the spiritual potential. Okay. And this is I haven't finished. So no, this is not. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and just continue. So that's the recap of these two aspects of the spiritual potential. And before we go to the second point, does anyone want to ask anything?
Yes, I do want to ask. Is it right? Both potential exist and function on the path?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
On the path and on the ground, both.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Because don't forget, it's one Buddha nature, and one Buddha nature is always there. And this is just like two aspects of the one Buddha nature. So that's why they exist
Okay.
together from the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, next question. The ground is the Buddha nature, and the path is to increase it.
To manifest it.
Manifest. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, the book says no increasing, no, there's nothing to add, nothing to remove. It's always there. Like think of it. And that's why the continuum, that's what it means. The continuum, it's always there. If you think of it like that, always there. And at the beginning, like think of like a big dirt, and then the dirt gets smaller and smaller, and then it's just that by itself.
And the fruit is Buddhahood.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? So the ground, the basis is, in this context, is we have the spiritual potential. It's there. And then Olga has a question. I'm going to go into the Russian channel. Olga. Yes, Olga. Okay, which quotation? Okay. Let me check. That says like a treasure trove, yeah? Yeah, I'll just find it. Like a treasure trove. I'll share the book, okay? It's on page 155, 57. Yeah. So Olga is, because I know you can't hear Olga, is referring to this last quotation, and she says that there might be a slightly different translation in the Russian version. So this is the... Let me see if... no, it's here, 157 on the English version. Yeah. Sorry, just waiting for Olga to translate. Which quotation? Can you give me the English? So we're trying to find the quotation, yeah. Sorry, bear with us for 1 second. Climate. Sorry, one moment. Okay. Okay. So you can check that. Yeah, you can check that and see which is the best translation for that. Yes. Okay. So is that okay, Olga? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So let's continue, and then it's talking about how the spiritual potential is labeled. Okay. But it's labeled depending on what phase you are on. Okay. So again, it's the same spiritual potential, the same Buddha nature. It doesn't change. It's always there from beginning to end. But different labels are given to it depending on what phase of your practice you are on. Okay. So that's why this could be confusing, because they put different names here and there and that, but it's the same thing all the time. Okay. So let's look at that part now. And Rinpoche was saying yesterday that when we are not like normal people, we're not really on the path, because Rinpoche said we're not really on the path yet. So when we're normal people, it's called impure. Okay. And this makes sense because we're still have our Buddha nature covered by negative emotions, obscurations, and all that. So it's labeled as impure when we're normal people. Then Rinpoche says that when we're from the moment we give rise to bodhicitta until the 10th bhumi, he says just before the Buddhahood, in this section in this phase, if you like, then it's both pure and impure. Okay, and this is the second label. So depending on where we are, we have normal people not doing anything, impure. Starting to give rise to bodhicitta until the 10th bhumi, both pure and impure. And then Buddhahood, completely pure. Again, it's the same thing, but depending on the different phases of the practice, it has these different characterizations. Okay. Any questions? We can, before we go to the next one.
Longchen refuge, which one teaching?
When some people say that the two aspects of the Buddha nature, which is the natural potential and the increasing potential, some people say that in the basis, in the ground, it's only the natural potential that's there, not the increasing potential. And the increasing potential comes when people start to practice. And Longchen Shedra says that's not correct. Both are there in the basis of the ground, and both are there in the path. Because it's one Buddha nature, one spiritual potential, but two aspects of it. One is the emptiness and one is the appearance. You know?
Yeah.
And that is what Longchen Shedra says, because he says that if the increasing potential, the appearance part, was not in the ground, and it's only when we practice, that means that the qualities are being created. And we know that's not true. They've always been there from the beginning. They just appear. Okay. And here, I'm going to share the book again on page 159. And it says here, this is just something that gives more characterization. It says, according to the highest continuum, it's uncompounded, spontaneously present. Okay. So this is important that we know it's there. Spontaneously present means it's there from the beginning. It's always there, always been there. It's not created. And uncompounded means it hasn't been created. It is not realized through the agency of anyone or anything else, and is endowed with wisdom, love, and energy. And this is Buddhahood itself, which embodies the two kinds of benefit. So the benefit for oneself and one others. So Rinpoche says that this citation says that whatever was there before, it's there after, it doesn't change. So whatever was there on the ground part, on the basis level, it's there on the path level as well. It's the same, exactly the same thing. So all of this text is saying the same thing again and again. Before and after, it's the same, always the same. So the two aspects of the Buddha nature are from the beginning to the end. So it's uncompounded, it's spontaneously present, it is wisdom, it is love, it is power. That's what it's saying. It's remember in the beginning of our Buddha nature discussion, it says, has always been there, nothing to add, nothing to remove. It's saying the same kind of things. Okay? Okay. And here it says, these quotations indicate that because Buddhahood is timelessly and spontaneously present, because it's always been there, it is not achieved through some kind of causal process, meaning that something created it. No, it doesn't involve something being developed, something being created, or something developing it. Remember, all these things say the same thing. It's just a little bit confusing because they say it a little bit differently. So Rinpoche said this is very important, very important. Nothing creates it. That's it. Keep this in mind. It's not created. It's always there. It's just revealing. This is why it says it's a causal process that involves disengagement. Disengagement here, it means like eliminating the dirt. That's it. All right. It's just that this text was written in the 13th, 14th century. And, we know from texts which are very old how the language is a bit complicated and all that. So just if we keep it simple, then we can understand it better. And Rinpoche said, remember the Vaibhashika said that with the practice, the result of the Buddhahood will arise, and they're kind of implying that it's being created. So again, Rinpoche is putting a lot of emphasis. Don't think of the arising result. It's the elimination result. Okay, this is very, very important.
So Longchen Shedра's view is more Madhyamikas and the Vaipakashikas.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Longchenpa's view, it's always there. It's just appearing because the dirt is being cleared. It's being, purified. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So let's talk about, okay, we said that according to the phase of where we are, it's impure, both pure and impure, and pure. We know that. Okay, can someone explain what that means? Rinpoche mentioned the naturally pure Buddha. What does that mean?
This is the Buddhahood,
Yes, but
but if in pure, this is the normal people.
exactly. So
Not
the naturally Buddha is everything we have, everyone has,
yes.
right? So we all have the Buddha naturally within us. So the naturally Buddha is important. And what does it mean, Buddha resulting from the purification of adventitious stains? This might come in the exam. Yes.
This is when we rise bodhicitta, if I understood correct.
This is when we're cleared of all the dirt. All the dirt is finished. Okay. So Rinpoche said that we all have naturally pure Buddha. Okay. And then only Buddha has Buddha from the purification of adventitious stage, of the temporary state. Because if you think about it, again, the spiritual potential is always there, all the dirt, but it's in there. So this is the natural Buddha. It's in there somewhere. And then when everything is cleared, it's the Buddha arising from Buddha from the purification. Okay, so only Buddha has this. We don't have purification yet. So we can't say we are Buddha from the purification, but only Buddha is Buddha from the purification. Does that make sense? But we can say we have the naturally pure Buddha inside us already. So there's, again, two aspects of Buddha. Okay, I'm a naturally pure Buddha because I have the naturally pure Buddha inside me, but I'm not Buddha. And only Buddha is the Buddha from the purification of the dirt, of the stains, of the negativity, the temporary dirt. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so 3 phases: impure, spiritual potential, Buddha nature, both pure and impure, and perfectly pure. Okay, this is all this thing is what it's saying. And Rinpoche, so here it becomes a bit complicated. It says that Buddha himself or herself doesn't have Buddha nature, right? Because Buddha nature is something that we describe as being covered by dirt. So this is important to do. So he might ask, why does Buddha not have Buddha nature? And we know because Buddha nature by definition is something that's covered by dirt. Even though it's the same before and after, but it's just the situation is different, the situation. And so Buddha doesn't have Buddha nature because Buddha nature is something that's covered by the temporary negative emotions, whereas Buddha is totally free from negative emotions. So that's why we say Buddha nature is not Buddha. But even though it's exactly the same from the beginning to the end, the situation is different. So think of it like that. Is that okay? Is that clear? So there's another quotation which is quite important. Let's find it. It's on page. Hang on a second. Where is it? It's on page 160. Okay. I'll just share my screen. And this is very important, Rinpoche said. So the highest continuum. Okay. This is on the section where it says specific situations. It says the fundamental being, that is Buddhahood, the enlightenment of Buddhahood. Okay. We have three situations. So we have impure, which is us, transitional from impure to pure. Maybe this is also us. Okay. And utterly pure. This is the Buddha. And it says here that these three situations are applied. So the impure is ordinary beings. Okay. The pure and impure is bodhisattvas. Okay. And the utterly pure is the Tathagatas, the Buddhas. Okay. And he says here, in the impure situation, the term fundamental being of ordinary individuals. So this is the impure Buddha nature, the impure situation of the Buddha nature. In the transitional situation from impure to pure, it's the bodhisattva. So the bodhisattvas have the Buddha nature whose situation is impure and impure, pure and impure. And the utterly and completely pure situation is the Tathagata. Okay? So remember, the same Buddha nature, different phases. Is that okay? And then Rinpoche said as well that the Shravakas, the hearers, and the Pratyeka Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. So it says that the Shravakas, they might reach some nirvana, okay, the arhats, but it's not the ultimate nirvana. So this nirvana is like an incomplete nirvana because it's not Buddhahood yet. So he made this clarification. Is there any questions? And it said in the book, like, just keep in mind, okay? This is one thing to keep in mind. The Buddha nature is always there, always complete, always perfect, nothing to add, nothing to remove. This is something always to remember. Whatever we are, it's there. Even if we're the worst criminal, even if we're the best practitioner, it's the same for everyone, okay? The only difference is the situation, the circumstances, the phase. That's why they say in the pure state, in the pure and impure state, and in the utterly pure state. It's not that it's a different Buddha nature which has changed. Just think of it as always the same, but depending on what's on top of it, it's characterized as an impure state for ordinary beings, impure and pure state for bodhisattvas, and the utterly pure state for Buddhas. Is that okay? Is it clear for everyone?
I have a question. If I'm a Buddha, is the Buddha nature always there or only always there?
Always
If
there.
Always there.
But when you're Buddha, it's not called Buddha nature anymore. It's just the name that changes.
The name changed.
But the essence of that
Okay.
is always there. It's always the same. This is important to remember. No matter what, it's always the same. That's why they say that in the Vajrayana, they say the result is there from the beginning. That's the Buddha nature, which is Buddha when it becomes clear. Any other questions? I hope
And the
this
name,
is okay and not confusing people.
okay, and the name changed to the name
Yeah.
changed. If on Buddha, only the name changed.
Yes, because it's cleared. Everything has been purified. Remember in the beginning we say Tathagata Garbha and Tathagata? It's only called Tathagata Garbha, Buddha nature, because it's covered with negativities. And Tathagata because it's cleared of negativities. And that's why Rinpoche said the nature of the naturally pure Buddha. Naturally pure Buddha is the essence, is the Buddha nature that we all have. And Buddha from the purification of the temporary negativities is Buddha. Only Buddha has this. And that's why we say that Buddha, so I know it's a bit confused. That's why they said that Buddha is not naturally pure Buddha or doesn't have Buddha nature, because Buddha nature is the label we use to show that this is already covered. It's covered by the negativities. It's just a matter of using like a label to distinguish the situation. It's not distinguishing what's there. It's not creating any differentiation of what's there. It's just differentiating the situation. That's it. Is it clear? Are there any other questions? No? Okay, I will try my best to make some, I don't know if I can do that, but I will try, I will put the key points in the presentation so we don't get confused. Okay. This is very important. And when Rinpoche is asking us what about the Buddha nature, how are we doing, we should answer him if we know what's happening. Okay. But then I will be embarrassed that I'm not doing my job correctly. Okay. So everything is clear? Yes? I know this can be very confusing because a lot of different terminologies are used to talk about the same thing. And this can create a bit of confusion. Just be patient, maybe read the text again 2-3 times, try to highlight some points, maybe because the text, the English and the language in the text is a little bit complicated sometimes, Okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, let's do the dedication so that we can make sure whatever merit was generated in this last hour, let it not be wasted. This is very important. So by this merit may all, Olga has 1 second, Olga, I'll just go into the channel, 1 sec. Okay, I'm in the Russian channel. Mhm. Okay, yes. So Olga's question is related to the word caste. Okay. Caste is like she understands it as what they use in the Indian caste system. So and caste is the same word as gotra. Gotra, remember, is the Sanskrit word for caste. It's first of all, let's do a recap of gotra. Gotra means qualities of liberation, like we did last time. So we have the go and the tra. So go is the qualities and tra is liberation. Or tra, I think, yes. So go is quality and tra is liberation. So it's the qualities. What qualities are we talking about? It's the qualities that are the base and like the causes for liberation. Liberation from what? From negative emotions. And that's the Buddha nature. If the Buddha nature, remember, was not there, then there's no point in doing anything, And why is this word caste used? Because in the Uttara Tantra Shastra, it's the Tibetan word for Buddha nature. What they're using is called rig. Rig. Rig means family, caste, potential. So it's just the Tibetan word rig, which translates into caste. So it's kind of like that's the explanation. And I think it's a little bit confusing, but it's maybe I think I heard a different how do you say, a different translation of it, or a different explanation of it quite a long time ago, but I can't remember what it was. It's kind of like I don't know, I can't remember, but I'll try to find it. And this kind of like I can't remember. Anyways, so that's what it was. So the Tibetan word rig means class, caste, family, lineage, gotra in Sanskrit, and it refers to the Buddha nature. It's just another word for the Buddha nature. Okay? Yeah. Spiritual potential or potential. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So again, there's a lot of different terminology which might confuse things, but that's all it is. It's the Buddha nature. It's there from the beginning. It will be there until the end. It's not created. It's not, how do you say? It's spontaneously present. It's always there. It will always be there. It's in everyone. It's in all sentient beings. That's it. It's perfectly pure. But what's the difference? The situation is the different. That's it. Okay? So we try to always keep that in mind. It's always there. It's always there. It's not changing. It's always there. It's perfectly pure from the beginning. We don't add anything to it. We don't remove anything from it. From the beginning to the end, it's the same. And that's why this text, the Uttara Tantra Shastra, is called the highest continuum. It's a continuum. It's always there. Okay? Okay, so if there are no other questions, then we can do the dedication to make sure that whatever merit, small, big, little, whatever, something must have happened here in the last hour. Let's not waste it and make sure that it becomes a cause and condition for all of us, all the enlightenment for all of us. So by this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may all beings be set free. O precious and sublime bodhicitta, may it arise in those in whom it has arisen, may it never decline where it has arisen, but go on increasing further and further. Soul stay by the power of the 3 jewels and the 3 roots. May the lifespan of the supreme emanation Origin showing Yesha be long and firm. May he achieve the highest Dharma virtue of wisdom and accomplish the great actions of the Dharma and all sentient beings. Appearance, sound, and awareness are experienced as the deity, mantra, and dharmakaya. Within the vast expanse of the display of enlightened phenomena and primordial wisdom, through the practice of the great yoga of the profound secret, may we remain indivisible with the essence of the one taste of enlightened mind. Olga, I'm going to remove you from the channel. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
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 But one more. So Gotra, they translated to Rig, and
So
then we translated in English and cast like this.
yes, but it just refers to the Buddha nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Окей. То есть мы переводим Готру с санскритского на тибетский как Риг, и вот на английский она переводится как там семья, линия или каста. Поэтому... Но все это относится к природе Будды, духовному потенциалу и так далее.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rig can also mean like a lineage, family, you know.
But Rigpa then what
It's
is
different.
Pa?
It's different. Different.
Different Rig.
Different.
Not the
Rig
same
and
Rig.
Rig. No. It's different spelling.
And Rig Veda
Ah.
also different Rig.
Which one?
Rig Veda.
I don't know what a Rig Veda is. I don't know what that is.
Rig Veda it's like
Ригведа это
India
же на каком языке?
in Sanskrit.
Rig, it's probably
точно.
different. It's because Rig is Tibetan, and there are two
Мы
Rig.
говорим про тибетский Риг.
A
Yes,
Rig,
no, this is very confusing.
Rig with a different spelling, and Rigpa is different spelling, so it's not the same. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, so thank you everyone, and see you this afternoon and tomorrow morning. Okay, and please, if you have questions, hello, Olga's cat.
It's my friend's cat.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
It's very nice.
two cat.
Oh, that's very pretty. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, so see you later this afternoon. Bye. And please
Okay,
collect your
bye-bye.
questions,
Увидимся
yeah?
вечером.
Collect your questions if
Записывайте
you
ваши
have.
вопросы.
Bye.
Собирайте вопросы.